One summer evening in the small town of Clay, Kentucky, a man named Billy Ray Taylor went out to fetch water from a well. At that moment, he saw a bright light in the sky that was passing quickly, and it seemed to have fallen nearby. He hurried back into the house and excitedly informed the others. But because he was known for joking around in public, no one took him seriously. Yes, at that time he was a guest of his friend Elmer Lucky Sutton, with whom he worked on a traveling carnival that had stopped in Indiana that day. They were on a farm that belonged to Lucky's mother, Mrs. Glennie Langford. Several other family members were also there, including Billy Ray and Lucky's wives and several of Lucky's younger siblings. That night was August 21st, 1955. One warm summer night, these people had returned home after attending a religious ceremony and were playing cards together. Billy was still talking about the strange light, and finally Lucky decided to go outside with him to see if it was really something. But when they went outside, they claimed to have seen a strange creature coming towards them from the edge of the forest. The description they had of the creature was very specific. It was between 90 and 120 centimeters tall, with a shiny body, large eyes, silver skin, claw-like claws, and its legs moved as if a fluorescent light was shining from them. They also have sharp ears. According to Lucky's daughter, she later heard from her father that these creatures looked like little silver aliens who didn't run on the ground but rather glided or somehow floated. Billy and Lucky are afraid to return home. A few minutes later, the mother of the family, Glennie, saw another creature approaching the house from behind with its long claw-like arms. He quickly went to hide the children under the bed, and the men of the house took their weapons. Blair went outside and claimed that the creature attacked him and tried to grab him. When Lucky fired a gun at one of the creatures, the bullet missed it, and the creature slowly fell to the ground and walked away without being harmed. The door to the house was quickly closed. Lucky and his brother John positioned themselves behind the windows and shot at the creatures coming towards the house. They said that the creatures appeared in waves through windows and doors. This fighting and shooting continued for about 3 to 4 hours, and the men used up 4 boxes of .22 caliber ammunition to keep the creatures away. But it seemed like none of those bullets had any effect and were just ricocheting off their bodies. Things calmed down around 11 p.m. Everyone gets in the car to go to the police. City police, state police, and even a few military personnel from the Fort Campbell base went to the scene. The reporters also came. They searched Hyatt, the house around the farm. They saw traces of gunfire, such as bullet casings and holes in windows and walls, but no sign of aliens was found. Only a few people said they saw a meteor alight in the sky. Police Chief Russell Greenwell later said that at that moment a cat jumped out of a pen and one of the soldiers put his foot on its tail. When the cat screamed, all the police and soldiers drew their guns and prepared to shoot. The atmosphere was so heavy that anything could turn violent. The investigation continued until 2 a.m., but when they found nothing, everyone left the area. But around 3 or 5 a.m., according to Lucky's grandson, something strange was happening. He describes how his grandmother was in bed and his father was sitting next to him in a rocking chair with a gun when one of those creatures appeared through the window again. Until sunrise, the creatures reappear and the attacks continue, but then all the creatures disappear forever. The next day, Lucky tells the others not to say anything about that night and to forget about it because he thought the problem would be fixed. But it was too late, and the news had already leaked to the media. In an interview with the Yvonne Saville Press newspaper, Lucky swore that the story was true. His brother John also told the Carrier newspaper, "Do you want to believe it or not?" But it happened. Gradually, the story took on a more exaggerated form. In the media, they were called little green people instead of silver creatures, which caused large crowds to go to the farm to supposedly find them themselves. Some even saw grass that had dried up in a circle and thought it was the landing site of the spaceship. This incident caused people to steal pieces of the farm to take as gifts for themselves. The police tried to stop the crowd, but Lucky's mother couldn't take it anymore and sold the meat 2 weeks later. His grandson would later say that he wasn't just afraid of the crowds, but that those creatures would come back. Unlike some ghost stories where ghosts try to make money by attracting attention, this is the opposite. The family even sold their farm to get rid of this situation. In the years that followed, none of the family members spoke about that night. Lucky remarried, had children, and didn't even tell my children until 1968. Until one day, 2 strangers knock on his door and want to hear the story in their own words. At that time, Lucky picked up his children and took them to Collie to show them the scene of the accident. His daughter said that the well was still there. The old house was still standing. At the bottom of the ground, there was a large, complete circle of dried grass that was still visible. But Lucky rarely talked about that night because it was clear that it was bothering him. His daughter said that when he started to compliment her, his face didn't change, but his skin, which was usually tanned, suddenly turned pale. Lucky died in 1995. As time passed, people helped me remember that story again. The total crowd reached about 300 people, and since 2011, they have been holding a festival called the Green Spaceman Festival on the anniversary of that night. Now, every year, thousands of people come to this small town to see the site of the incident and hear the story. Lucky's daughter also attends the celebration every year and tells the story of her family. This was the story that happened. And now that it's complete, we need to examine the theories that have been put forward. The first theory is the military affair. The Fort Campbell military base, which was only about 30 kilometers from the farm, gave him the idea that perhaps the strange lights were the result of a night flight test or new technology. This means that this military base was probably conducting secret experiments. Many people do not accept this explanation because they believe that a series of creatures have been seen and there is no explanation for the creatures. The second theory is multifaceted. At that time of year, a meteor shower occurs, with between 50 and 100 meteors passing through every hour. This could explain the lights in our sky, but it still doesn't explain the home invasion and the shootings. The third theory is animals or owls. A researcher named Jonicle said that the creatures may actually be great horned owls that flashed in the farmlight, and because they are territorial, they may have attacked humans. But these owls behave aggressively in the winter, not the summer. The owl doesn't walk on the ground like the families used to describe. The fourth theory is monkeys. Another rumor was that another carnival had stopped nearby and some monkeys had escaped from there. But one of the kids who was there that night said they weren't monkeys. A monkey doesn't wear silver clothes. And if it was a monkey, it doesn't wear silver clothes. And if it was a monkey, at least one of them would have died with all those shots. The fifth theory is what you probably expect. Spaceman. It's true that they never left any definitive evidence of themselves. But it should also be taken into account that the family members always stood by their word and their story never changed. Even the Hopkinsville police chief later told his wife, "I don't know what they really saw or what they were afraid of, but the woman really believed that what she saw was real." From 1947 to 1969, the U.S. Air Force had a project called Project Blue Book, which investigated cases of unidentified flying objects. Apparently, this incident was also investigated in those files, and now in recent years, even in 2023, some U.S. military veterans testified in Congress that the government has been investigating unidentified flying phenomena for years, but no clear visual evidence has yet been shown to the public. But ultimately, we still don't know the story. The story is still a mystery until another unknown factor is eliminated.